guys. Episode 6. Your boys Higgins and Boni back at you with a special episode. We're going to cover NFL free agency. We're going to talk about the history of Bill Belichick and his retread Patriot players. And also we're going to talk a little bit about Blake Griffin and the landscape of the NBA now that he is in Brooklyn. What just dropped, by the way?
That was my phone. I'm being really unprofessional.
You don't need your phone. It's all good. But yeah, let's pick up the production value a little bit, bud. Come on.
Okay, man. I'm sorry.
Hey,
See, it's in there.
Okay.
Phone's away.
Phone's away.
Whatever.
Whatever. I have the advantage my phone's filming us, so like I don't have to worry about dropping it.
I mean, of course it's gonna happen. There's actually a funny story. So like at my high school at Western Reserve Academy, shout out the Pioneers. Yeah, it sounds like the way it is, but I love that place. But regardless of the point.
Regardless.
Every morning meeting, that's what we called it, like our little like announcement, hoopla, whatever. There would be at least like 6 drop phones, and like since like the floor was like kind of, I don't remember what like the floor type of floor it was. I'm pretty sure it was like wooden. Everybody would just drop their phone, and it'd be so loud, and everybody would just know. They'd be like, "Oh, come on, man, why are you doing that? Why are you looking at your phone during the middle of morning meeting?
Yeah, we got things going on here at Western Reserve Academy. Like you have to be on point in the morning.
Yeah, so I just like I'd laugh, but now like I'm laughing at myself. So it is what it is.
It is what it is. All right, but you know what?
What you gonna do?
What are you gonna do about it?
We're gonna talk about free agency. That's what we're gonna do.
We're past high school. We're in college now, and now we're gonna be talking about
the
free agency.
The pros, man.
Yeah. So the franchise deadline just passed, and notable guys that were tagged: Justin Simmons, Denver safety; Chris Godwin, who's in Tampa; Marcus May; Taylor Moton, who's the tackle in Carolina. Brandon Scherf got tagged. Cam Robinson, Allen Robinson, all got tagged. So that's a pretty good list of guys, but also some guys didn't get tagged. So Aaron Jones, your boy in Green Bay; Kenny Golladay; Juju Smith's a free agent now; Joe Tooney, who's the guard in New England, is now a free agent; and Shaq Griffin is now a free agent who's in Seattle last year. But talk about your thoughts on some of the guys that were tagged. Any surprises? Anybody you want to see hitting free agency? Anything like that?
Not really. I think the guy that I was most surprised that got tagged was Allen Robinson, I think, from the Chicago Bears. That really surprised me. Just because I think you could tell from the outside he's being like a team guy, but I think he's just really unhappy there just because he really hasn't had a quarterback ever since he's come out of Penn State. He really hasn't had a guy that's been able to throw the ball.
Okay, first of all, even his quarterbacks at Penn State was like Christian Hackenberg. So it's like he's never, ever had a quarterback play.
Yeah, no.
Like a good quarterback player.
I'd say it's really unfortunate. Like, it's really sad. But, like, that's a guy that's surprised I got tagged. I think he probably would have got a lot of money this offseason because I think he's a really underrated commodity in the NFL. Probably just amongst, like, NFL fans. But I think within the league, I think there's a ton of respect for that guy. I think another guy that I mean, Godwin was kind of surprising. I just thought, like, based upon what the Bucs did last year and, like, I was surprised they're paying, like, kind of that much for, Chris Godwin. But, I mean, obviously the guy's really talented. I mean, obviously 2 years ago he was one of the leaders in, like, receiving yards and everything. So he was a great player then. But, like, I think with Brady, it's like I think you want to have the best guys around him. And I think, obviously, with Antonio Brown, you'll get him a full season. And then Mike Evans, it's like I think it just made sense that you bring him back just for a year, especially with Tom. And you're in this win mode now, so
yeah. I mean, they're gonna go into cap hell as long as Tom Brady's there. So I don't think you're gonna bring AB back because I don't think you'll have the cap space to do it. You reworked Levante David's contract. You brought him back. You're tagging Godwin. They will, like I said, they'll go into salary cap hell just to stay in that championship window as long as Brady's there. But I agree with Robinson. I mean, Robinson has been liking tweets all offseason about how he wants to play with Deshaun in New York, which would be amazing if both of those guys could get there. But that was surprising a little bit. Taylor Moton, who's the tackle in Carolina, I get why the Panthers tagged him because he is a promising player. He kind of had a down year in 2019. So it'll be interesting to see how he does on the tag. Love that the Jets brought back Marcus May. He's one of my favorite players. Cam Robinson, also another surprise tag. He's the offensive tackle in Jacksonville. I thought they were just going to let him walk because he is very inconsistent. I mean, he's a good run blocker. But that's kind of it. Pass protection, not great. But, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say any big surprises except for Allen Robinson. I thought he would be hitting the open market. But, yeah, no, we talked about it a little bit, or I talked about it a little bit. Aaron Jones is a free agent. I think he ends up signing elsewhere because the Packers have A.J. Dillon, and you don't need to pay big money to a running back anymore. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I guess, like, the talk around Green Bay is that they're trying to, like, backload the contract of, I think, the ESPN reporter for Green Bay. I can't pronounce his last name, but we won't try. But
wait, which one?
I think Rob. It's like a D. It's with a D. Right?
It's like just something very confusing that we don't want to talk about right now.
It's not like super confusing. I just need to know how to pronounce it. But
we're gonna look. You keep talking.
Look at this
right now.
Journalistic integrity. But yes, like I think there was a report saying that they wanted to, like they were very interested in re-signing him, obviously just because of his.
Rob Demovsky.
Demovsky. Okay, there you go. Yeah, sorry about that. But there was reporting that they were gonna try and put most of his money on the back end, which as a running back, that does not make any sense.
No, I mean, you want to pay him up
especially in the
front.
running back market. I mean, if you learned your lesson from like guys like Le'Veon Bell, it's like you don't really pay a running back, and no matter who it is. And it's like that's kind of how like the reality of the league now. Also, like I think that's like another trend that you see a lot in the NFL is like you see like a lot of guys getting cut, like Kyle Van Noy. Like we'll get him later in the show.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that whole thing later.
Like a lot of guys get paid on what they've done and what they're expected to do, and if they don't perform, like even if like they're so expected to play at such a high level that if they even miss it, like they have like two like okay to like these like good years, like they're just gonna get cut because they cost too much money. And like they get their guarantee money and that's it. Like they don't even get like all the money, like all the bonuses. Like they kind of just get screwed over. And I think that's something you see like in Major League Baseball. Like obviously like the San Diego Padres did something completely different and signed Tatis the year after he broke out at age 24. But like you see a lot of guys get paid on the back end, and it's like, hey, they're not giving me what they're not performing to what they're given, but like they're given the money based upon what they have done. I feel like so like I feel like that's something that's like. It's hard to do as like a general manager, and that's like I feel like a lot of teams like you can't really do in a salary cap league where it's like you have to pay guys. Like in baseball, it's obviously a lot different because there's the analytical side. Like you can give like for example like the Brewers, like they signed Jackie Bradley Jr. to like a small deal. Like you can't do that in the NFL. Like if somebody
like with the exception of
like,
guys that are like older, like guys you can give like $6 million guaranteed, like $3 million, like guys that they're looking for rings at this point in their career. Like, NFL contracts, the way they work, all of them are essentially non-guaranteed, which is why people have a problem with owners like saying that they have to uphold their contracts when at any instance they can cut certain guys to save cap, like Kyle Van Noy, guys like Le'Veon, guys who aren't performing, and if they can save a boatload of money by cutting them by June 1st, which is mostly the deadline for all these big contracts to be guaranteed, they'll cut them and just have nothing on their hands after that, which makes it seem like, so the Deshaun Watson situation, everyone's saying he signed that contract. He needs to play out his contract. To a point, yeah, they're right. But at the same time, let's just say over the next 2 years, he stays in Houston, his play digresses. They'll cut him and just, that's it. You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe not someone like Deshaun Watson, but like someone maybe less caliber. Like, but that's like like the perfect example. But yeah, you're 100% right.
It's crazy how they'll work, but
it'll be interesting what, like, for example, Dak Prescott re-signs to the Dallas Cowboys. Huge news. Let's see, like, what if he doesn't come back like the way he's supposed to from his injury? Yeah. You think Jerry Jones is gonna be like, I want this guy? Like, they were already doubting giving him $40 million a year. Yeah. Did he deserve that? Like, I don't know if that much, but he certainly had the upper hand in negotiations because guess what? They were awful without him. Andy
Dalton, the Red Rifle,
they were very terrible
with him. Yeah,
exactly. So like he had all the leverage going into that, and so like therefore it's like he's gonna get paid what he's gonna want, and like he proved his worth obviously. But like, what if Dak Prescott like doesn't play well? What if he doesn't what happens if the rehab like doesn't go as well and he just doesn't play as well?
And or to that point
what if the team is terrible? Like because they have so many big contracts like. What if like Ezekiel Elliott could be released in a couple of years if he continues the production he has, even next year?
Yeah,
this is like the business side of the league, and I think like if your players like Deshaun Watson and like you're unhappy with the situation, like of course you have every right to leave. Like owners do that to players all the time. It's just like I guess people don't like it when the player takes a stand on their own initiative and be like, hey, guess what? I'm gonna do like what I want to do.
They hate that.
They hate that.
Absolutely. Like, why do you think they had such a big problem with the guys kneeling? Well, first of all, because like they think it's like just ruining the American flag or whatnot. But also because they want to have all the power. But also to your point though, we were talking about in Dallas. Yeah, that team has talented players up at the top. There's no depth on that team. You also can cut ties with Zeke after this year. That offensive line, which was once very talented, is aging. There's no guarantee that Tyron Smith is ever going to be the player that he was. Travis Frederick is gone. You still have Zach Martin. Leo Collins is solid. He was out all year last year. So in my mock draft, it's actually on Rewrite Network. If you guys want to check that out, I have them taking Rashawn Slater at 10, who's the tackle from Northwestern, who has been pushing for that number 1 tackle spot behind Penei Sewell. So they need to do some major work on that whole roster. So even if Dak does play well, you're still in cap hell because you're paying him all that money, along with Zeke, DeMarcus Lawrence, Jalen Smith, who was vastly underperformed in that contract. You might be looking at a situation where you're not competitive for the next 10 years just because of this situation. So
100%. And, there's guys, on the list that didn't get tagged, like Kenny Golladay. He's going to get a payday, I think.
Oh, yeah. Kenny Golladay, Baltimore, New York.
He's another example. It's he's kind of been hurt, the past couple seasons. And it's if he doesn't it's just such a performance league. What do you do for me now? That's how teams have to be. Juju Smith-Schuster, I don't think he's going he wants to stay in Pittsburgh so badly, but I think they're kind of done with all the childish. They won't say it out loud. They won't say it in the press, but they're tired of the TikToks and all that stuff. They really are.
So before you could go on, yes, you're right, but also at the same time, if they were to let him walk, you still have Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, James Washington. You don't need him. That's why they've been loading up. I mean, Pittsburgh has been great at drafting receivers in the back end of drafts. Hines Ward, Antonio Brown, Emmanuel Sanders, Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster, guys that aren't first-round guys. They've been great. So I have no problem if they were to say, we're done with you. We don't like the antics. Your production on the field has dropped ever since AB left. You don't need to pay him big money.
And it's I would not pay that guy big money.
I would.
Especially with how, Deontay Johnson was catching you 10 balls a game out of the slot because of who you had with Ben. So,
you do have to look at the same time, how much of an impact does he have on the rest of the receivers? Because, his numbers were down this year, but Deontay Johnson's numbers were way up. Chase Claypool had a great rookie year. So that's another factor that teams, I'm sure, will consider. How much attention is he going to take away? Kind of how when he was a rookie, AB took all that attention away from him, and he had a big rookie year.
Yeah, but there's levels to AB, Antonio Brown, and Juju Smith-Schuster. There's levels to that. AB is considered one of the greatest wide receivers probably in the past decade. Numerically, statistically, just kind of eye-watching it. The numbers he put up were crazy. So I don't. I think that comparison's good, and I think he walks. It's kind of unfortunate because the salary cap is obviously way down, and a guy like Aaron Jones or Corey Linsley or Kevin King, I think in a normal year you'd probably see one of those guys walk, but I think this year with the cap, you're probably gonna see all 3 guys walk away. Mm-hmm. And if you're the Packers, there's nothing you could do. That's out of your control. You can't control the fact that the salary cap's down. I would love to pay you, but I can't pay you. You know what I mean? And it's just so unfortunate. And obviously this team is trying to win now. I think they've proven that. There's so many guys Aaron Rodgers, Bakhtiari. There's so many people trying to restructure their contract, and it's not going to be enough for a guy like Aaron Jones, and it sucks because Aaron Jones was a huge part of the team last year. Mm-hmm. If you watch that team, they were nowhere near successful without Aaron Jones. Just the receiving stuff, the rushing stuff, and they're losing Jamal Williams too. So it's they would love to re-sign a guy like that. So. Mm-hmm.
I think also at the same time the Packers need help elsewhere.
Wide receiver,
corners. Kevin King has been fine. He got picked on in the NFC Championship game, but he's been fine since he joined Green Bay.
But he's up for free agency, so I think he'll be gone.
Yeah, no, he'll be gone. But at the same time, you need to fill out other positions. Running back, I wouldn't give running back a second thought. You have A.J. Dillon. Get somebody that can back him up, that can catch passes better out of the backfield. Well, he'll be fine.
But it's just Aaron Jones has been such an underrated back in the league, and I'm going to be very glad when he gets paid.
Yeah.
That's all.
Here, before we continue, we were just talking about Antonio Brown and the levels to his game and everything. If you guys want to see an exclusive interview from Antonio Brown, check out my boy Griffin on his show, The Backdoor Show. Him, his brother, and his uncles will be interviewing Super Bowl champion wide receiver Antonio Brown. Make sure to look him up, guys. It's a great show.
To pivot back to a former team, New England Patriots. Yes. They've been making a lot of moves.
To one of AB's former teams, the New England Patriots. So we wanted to touch a little bit on the fact that Trent Brown has recently been traded from Vegas back to New England for a couple late round picks. Kyle Van Noy, who had his best success in New England, just released by Miami 2 weeks ago, mostly in a cap casualty move, but still, he had a good year last year, and they caught him. We want to talk a little bit about the fact that Patriots players have been known to do well in New England, leave, get cut for whatever reason, poor play, cap casualties, whatever you want to call it. They somehow find their way back to New England for a fraction of what they would have been like 5 years ago. Guys like Trent Brown, Kyle Van Noy, who's not in New England yet, we expect him to be at some point.
Yeah.
Someone like Jamie Collins, who New England traded to Cleveland for a second-round pick, played bad there. They cut him, and they brought him back for like $1 million, and then signed another big contract in Detroit last offseason.
Yeah.
Someone like LeGarrette Blount, who had a decent career in New England. He was in Tampa, and he ended up in New England. He had a decent career, was in Pittsburgh, basically begged to get cut. I don't know if you remember this. He left the game halfway through the game, just sat in the locker room and said, "I'm done. Please just cut me." Signed with New England and won a Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
And then someone like Deion Branch, who New England traded to Seattle for a first-round pick post his Super Bowl MVP performance. And then they ended up taking him back. And he wasn't the same player, but they still were able to bring him back. So it just speaks to the fact that the Patriots, they're like next level thinking. They really are.
I think they're just really good at developing players, and I think Bill Belichick and what he's created, I think players are, I'm not necessarily like attracted to it, but I think they just play better because it's just all business there.
Yeah.
Like there's no hoopla with the Patriots. It's all business. Granted, like I think Tom Brady was a huge part of that success, and like I think he's proven that like, hey, you can win wherever you want. So it's like I think the amount of respect that Bill has, probably not as much as it used to be, but he's still the greatest coach of all time. I mean, arguably one of the best of all time. And like people are just more attracted to that type of environment. So like, yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's what happens. I think it's the Patriot way, the Patriot culture, the do your job culture. I think that it really speaks to a lot of players, and they love paying for Bill Belichick, especially on defense. I mean, who's a better mind than Bill Belichick on the defense side of the ball?
And it reminds me, so you know Rodney Harrison, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he was a free agent before the 2003 season, and people thought he was kind of like done. And he had a trip to New England, and he said he got there, and it was freezing cold. He came from San Diego, so he was in shorts and a T-shirt. It was freezing, and then Belichick took him to like some chain restaurant. Was basically like, "Listen, you come here, we'll win." And he's like, "Done, I'm there." Like, and that's just the kind of culture that guys want to play for. You know, not everybody. Do you remember? Do you know who Cassius Marsh is?
It sounds familiar, but no.
So he's an NFL player. I think he's in San Francisco right now. I'll have to double check that. But he was in New England at one point, and he was like, "Oh, it's no fun there. It's not a good time. Like, winning is fun.
Yeah,
winning is a good time. Like, you're gonna cry." He was probably crying about the fact that he hardly ever played. But he's like, "Yeah, the guys were so tight. They didn't want to have fun." It's like, no, they wanted to win. Because winning is fun. Like, look at those parties that Robert Kraft will throw after they win a Super Bowl. Like, those look fun. And then you have Brady out there, like, just flashing the rings like he's
the
Thanos.
7 rings he has now, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that just speaks to kind of like the 20 years of culture they've built, and it obviously it's dwindling, and it's probably not going to be there in like 3 years because, frankly, let's be honest, when you don't win and you have a culture as tight knit as that, like it really doesn't work. Like there's just people check out, like there's just not the same kind of like emphasis behind it, but like people just like playing for Bill Belichick, like and it's not even like. I just don't know. Like, obviously we've never been there, so like we have no idea. Maybe we.
I mean, hey, listen.
Maybe we could get a guest on the show.
You know, who could talk about it with us is Ray.
Exactly.
Because Ray was there. I mean, Ray. I mean, I've talked about it with him a little bit, not a whole lot, but he's like, you know, he knows his quote from Ray. He knows his shit.
Yeah.
You know, so in classic Ray fashion. But
yeah, and I just think it's just like interesting because it's like he's been like the golden bearer of like kind of just winning across the board, like internationally. I mean, if we look at like, I think the only other team that's kind of comparable or like way greater is the All Blacks out of New Zealand. I think it's New Zealand for rugby. Like they're unbelievable. Like they win every year.
I would not know anything about that.
Yeah, but it's like the serial winner. So like the teams that I think of are like Manchester United when they had Sir Alex Ferguson. Like, yeah, I like Manchester United. Sorry,
clearly.
But I mean,
the
guy won so many Premier Leagues, and this guy was a serial winner, and they're just like Gary Neville, like the right back, and like Roy Keane, the great captain. If you want to get a good laugh and you're a soccer fan, watch Sky Sports Football on YouTube and just watch Roy Keane. This guy's commentary is the funniest thing I've ever watched in my life. But that's besides the point. But like these guys are such serial winners that like after they win, they just want to go again. Like,
Yeah.
There's honestly like there's no celebrating.
Winners.
They're just like, hey, let's just go again. And that's like kind of like the culture that Bill Belichick has brought. And obviously Tom Brady really enforced it because your players control a team, and like there's like this like, hey, we won once, like let's run it back, you know? Like I think there's that type of mentality that's like super important, and it's super cool to have. So
yeah, see Chuck trying to peek out the door.
yeah,
We're almost done, buddy. Don't worry.
We'll probably edit that out.
Anyway, no, we'll leave it in. We're raw here.
Yeah,
we're raw footage here. Let's pivot NBA action. Let's talk about my Brooklyn Nets. Just signed Blake Griffin after he was bought out by Detroit. Now, me and my friends were debating this in our group chat a little bit. I mostly was, just because they were pissing me off a little bit. It's not like a huge deal. He's not what he used to be. I mean, obviously, it's bench help in the bigs department, which is great because they need it. He can hit a jump shot for you. He can run an offense. You can run an offense like the Twos offense through Blake Griffin, which I think is great. I think it helps them just even further get into that number one seed into the Eastern Conference. And, right now, if you're the Nets, you're not really focused on the Sixers. You're not focused on the Celtics. You're not focused on, I'm trying to even think who else is tops in the East right now. Kayla, remember? What's up?
Did you say the Bucks?
The Bucks.
Yeah, you didn't say the Bucks.
I didn't say the Bucks. They're focused on LeBron and AD in LA. I think that's their mindset right now because you have KD, Harden, Kyrie. You have that star power. That's NBA title star power. Now you need that bench depth. And I think Blake Griffin definitely gives it to you. But it's not like you're getting prime Blake Griffin who's going to dunk on your head. Although I saw a tweet and it was like, if Blake Griffin in his first game as a Net like just dunks over somebody and just starts laughing, the only reasonable response is a lawsuit. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, that is fun.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but I think I think we agree too much on this show, but I do agree with you.
We have similar takes. It's all good.
Yeah, it is all good. But Blake Griffin is there to provide bench support, give you good minutes. Obviously, he's not a great 3-and-D guy because he shot 31% this year. But yeah. I think he gives you he's 6'9", 250. Who do you think he's going to guard in the NBA Finals? Like, LeBron. Like, they're throwing bodies at LeBron.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to throw bodies at Ben Simmons in the Eastern Conference or Giannis or whoever they want. Like, obviously, he's not the greatest defender that the world's ever seen. But, I mean, he's probably capable now because he's 31 and he wants to win a ring. Mm-hmm. And he's back with his boy,
Lob City's back. Lob City's back.
Yeah, but, no, I think, like, look, the Nets are 9-1 in their last 10 games.
Damn right.
They're a half game out of the first seed. They really haven't been playing together yet, like the big three. And they just got Blake Griffin. There's potential that they're going to get Andre Drummond. There's potential that they could sign whoever the heck they want because, it's the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, people want to come there to play.
Want to play. People want to be in the city again. I don't know why, but Brooklyn. I mean, I don't know. It just sounds pretty cool, but to be in Brooklyn, I guess. But I think, like, they're obviously the team to beat in the East. Obviously, what the 76ers have done is pretty phenomenal this year, and Joel Embiid.
Oh yeah, that's not to be understated because Embiid has had an MVP.
But I think with the 76ers, it's wait until you see they win, and then you'll start be like, oh, they can win. I think they're not going to get the respect just because of like Ben Simmons and kind of what's happened.
Yeah,
over the past couple of years within the playoffs. Obviously, last year,
guy can't shoot. The guy can't shoot.
Yeah, like last year, Joel Embiid was hurt. 2 years ago, they lose in the most dramatic fashion probably ever possible. Kawhi Leonard hitting that shot from the corner. But yeah, I mean, there's issues with them. There's issues with the Bucks where it's like there's not really a second guy still. Drew Holiday's a very, very good player and very capable.
We have Middleton.
Middleton is. I think he's very underrated, but they don't have like that guy, or it's like like Giannis has another superstar next to him. So obviously, I think if you're looking at the overall landscape of the NBA, I mean, it's kind of the same old, where it's like the Lakers are the team to beat. Like that's the team you have to go through. You're gonna see that team in the NBA Finals, no matter who's in front of them. I mean, you have the Jazz and the Suns. Like
the Jazz have been on fire this year, and like that also is another team that should not be discounted because they've been great. Like that whole culture in Utah is phenomenal. Like Quinn Snyder is one of my favorite coaches in the NBA. He's been very successful with different groups of guys, and now this class of guys, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, who I'm not a huge fan of, but he
Mike
is
Conley.
good. You have Mike Conley, who's had a better year in Utah in year 2 than last year. You have like capable guys, and they're 27-9. They are tops in the Western Conference. Now that doesn't mean anything, especially if LeBron's in your conference. Think about the Atlanta Hawks, 65 wins, I think, 66 wins.
They won a boatload.
Second round out. Oh my God,
they
that
got
team.
swept, man.
Yeah,
they got swept.
God, what was that team? It was Jeff T.
It used to call it. I mean, LeBronto. I mean, do we have to go there? LeBronto.
DeMar DeRozan probably has nightmares about LeBronto.
That was like, as a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, like that's probably my favorite series. I just created a word, but playing Toronto, you just knew it was gonna be a sweep. it was inevitable. It was like, I don't even know what you could compare it to, but like it was just gonna be a sweep. But yes, you're gonna have to go through LeBron James. And probably a healthy Anthony Davis, and that team is so loaded. I mean, Dennis Schroeder, like Montrezl Harrell, Marc Gasol, like that team's so veteran laden that they're obviously gonna peak at the right time. LeBron's gonna pick his spots.
Yeah.
The fans, if they're there or not, I think that benefits the Lakers more. Because I mean, dude, you have LeBron James in an empty gym. I think there's more intimidation factor. You don't have to deal with the road, the playoff noise from being on the road. And I just think like that's the team to beat. Like you're gonna have to figure out how to beat that team.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're gonna have a lot of star power. The Nets have that star power. Because I mean, we've talked about it a lot, but like, who's going to guard Kyrie Irving and James Harden? Yes, like, guarding LeBron James and Anthony Davis is going to be an issue, but Kevin Durant is one of the best defenders in the league. I don't care what anybody really has to say, but like, he's very, very capable of guarding somebody. He's a top 2 player in the league.
I mean, listen,
and you have Uncle Jeff, you have Jeff Green.
Love Uncle Jeff.
Who's been there? I mean, you just added Blake Griffin, another body you could throw at LeBron James.
You have Nick Claxton, who's MJ in a center's body. Shout out my little brother Sean. We agree on that.
But yes, like you have people there that like can somewhat match up with Anthony Davis and those guys. But like, if you're the Lakers, like who the hell is gonna guard for Kyrie Irving and James Harden?
Yeah, it's not gonna be Schroeder. It's not gonna be KCP.
It's gonna be Caruso.
Love Caruso. I can't hate on
you
Caruso.
can only guard one of those guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
we had that
Kyle,
same
like Kyle Kuzma. Like I can't think of Wesley Matthews. Come on now.
I had that same conversation with my buddies about the Sixers, and it's like, who's gonna guard Kyrie? Oh, Matisse is gonna guard Kyrie. Oh, that's fine. Who's gonna guard James Harden?
Ben Simmons, maybe.
Ben Simmons. Who's gonna guard KD? Who's gonna guard these guys? Like they're just no one's gonna guard them. It's not like the Nets can guard anybody to begin with, for the most part as a team, but. Good luck stopping these guys in the playoffs. I mean, Nets Lakers is my finals prediction. It was at the beginning of the season. It is halfway through the season, and it will be until someone else proves me wrong.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. I don't know if I can make really a finals prediction. I just know the Lakers will be there. I think it's still like early in the East because I think just with the track record of James Harden and like we just have to see like Kevin Durant hasn't been to the NBA Finals without Golden State, you know, like Kyrie Irving hasn't like.
Well, he was there once.
Yes, he was there once with James Harden, but like I mean, maybe that's the point. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just contradicted myself. I think this is just another team you have to wait and see. Like Steve Nash has never coached in the final. Like he's never coached in the playoffs.
Never been to the finals as a player either.
Yeah, like none of those. Like there isn't like that culture of going to the finals where it's like even like a team like the Miami Heat are 18-18. Like guess who they're going to be playing in the playoffs? The playoffs started tomorrow. The Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, a
team that they handled last year. So like,
we'll see what
happens. Like. Yes, like I think if you could call it tomorrow, if you had to call it today, I think the Nets are probably the favorite. With I think Philadelphia right by them because I think there's a valid question of who's going to guard Joel Embiid. But as we've seen in the past, like teams have had strategy to guard big men. Like Dwight Howard in Orlando, there was a strategy where hey, we're going to let him score like 40 points, but hey, let's just leave. Like you could score as many twos as you want, but hey, this is going to be we're going to make this an analytical math equation where, hey, threes are more than twos. So,
exactly.
And after a while,
like, and it's a threes game in the NBA. You know, that's also, so to bring it back to Belichick a little bit, 1991, he's the defense coordinator in New York. They're playing Buffalo in the Super Bowl. It's Buffalo's first Super Bowl, the first one that they lost 4 in a row.
Yeah.
And his game plan, he walks into the defensive meeting room and he says, guys, Thurman Thomas needs to have over 100 rushing yards. Because if he has over 100 rushing yards, Jim Kelly does not have the ball in his hands. Andre Reed doesn't have the ball in his hands. Let Thurman run, and we'll stop them on the pass. And it worked. Like, it's one of the most revered game plans in NFL history. But it's like that. Like, I'll let Joel Embiid or Giannis or whoever have 40 points in the paint. But we will outscore you around the three-point line. So
I mean, that's what the Warriors made a living off.
Yeah.
I mean,
it helps that you have the best
shooter
of all time, and arguably the second best shooter of all time.
I would say the second best shooter.
Arguably, I think Reggie, but
I mean, by the end of it, it's gonna be those two as the greatest. And, just statistically, and just like they changed the game. They won a ring.
Oh, they changed the game for sure.
That kind of helps your case.
All right, we're gonna finish off the show today with a little segment. We're going to be finally eating Josh's Jacks from a friend of the show, Mike. Thank you, Mike, for these.
Shout out, Mike.
Shout out, Mike. Big friend of the show. Big fan of the hit. There's your bowl. Here's mine. I will pour these for you. But also, I have to say, I'm very skeptical about eating these because, you know, I was a Josh Allen doubter. I was.
What are these? What is this?
Look, you ever heard of Flutie Flakes?
Oh,
I can open this. There we go. You know what Flutie Flakes are, right? It's like when Doug Flutie was in Buffalo.
Well, yes, I know what it is, but like, they're like blue and like
they're like
red.
Fruit Loops.
They're like Fruit Loops.
Yeah, but they're Bill's colors.
All right, well, this is gonna be
Take
like
your
your thing, you know, because like I'm not a huge Fruit Loops guy.
Well, you know what? They're not Fruit Loops though. They're Josh's Jacks.
All right, yeah, okay, but
Just think about it that way.
all right, yeah.
There you go.
That's good.
Is that good enough for you?
Where's the milk?
I got the milk. Here we go.
You need some milk. I'm kidding. Oh, yep.
Oh,
Nice.
Bond.
Shout out to my mom for getting
Messy
this
eaters.
new computer because
Thank you, Mrs. Boniface, for the new computer. It's working great.
It's more because I have a class and yeah, there's a software on the Mac that really doesn't work on the Mac.
School comes first, kids.
And hey, we needed a new home computer, so this is the new home computer.
Take your milk.
We can't really promote anything, but I mean,
could this be our new thing? Like, you know how Barstool has like pizza reviews? Could we just do cereal reviews?
we can do cereal reviews.
We could do
hey,
that.
Comment in the comments if you want. This is what you want to do. If you made it
this could be our thing. This could be us.
We'll put it into the caption. We'll put a poll on Twitter. I don't know. We got to figure something out.
Air
So,
spoon?
do we like cheers to this or
Oh, yeah, here.
what's happening?
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Bang.
Here's the bowls.
Cereal style. Bang a bang a skeet skeet.
Oh, here we go. It's pretty good. Tastes like Fruit Loops. I can't believe I just ate those.
It's not bad. They taste good.
I was such a big believer in the fact that if Sam Darnold and Josh Allen were to switch teams, that Josh Allen would not be successful and Sam Darnold would be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I was such a firm believer on that. I don't really think that anymore. But
It'd be your own, man.
it'd be your own.
You
I
win
just
some.
love Sam Darnold so much.
You win some and you lose some. But yes, these are all right. I'd say it's not the greatest cereal I have. Like this wouldn't be like a go-to cereal. Like sorry, Josh Allen, but I just would not eat your cereal like every day. But like maybe like once in a while. Is this like the type of cereal where you're like your like tongue goes blue? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
It was it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. See, this.
I'm gonna show up to practice tomorrow, just like 6'5", 240, looking like Josh Allen, like ready
with
to go.
with the blue tongue. And
Yeah,
like,
let's go.
oh
Oh my god,
that'd be funny.
that was
But
good though. That was pretty
yeah,
good.
so this will conclude the episode.
This will conclude the episode.
This will conclude the episode of The Hit with Higgins and Boni. I'm obviously Boni, and he's obviously Higgins.
Guys, make sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends about us. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter at The Hit with Higgins and Boni.
Yeah, tell your uncle that like loves sports to like follow and
Yeah,
subscribe
like we're
to
just
our
such an
podcast.
obscure sports podcast. He might like us. Who
Yeah,
knows?
you never know.
You never know. But
Yeah, we'll be coming out with more content soon. We will have like a special giveaway if you follow our social media accounts with 100 followers.
100th follower, we'll be getting
We'll be getting something.
something. We don't know yet.
We
but
actually do know, but we don't want to tell you.
We're not
'cause,
gonna tell.
We're gonna be one of those
we're
people.
gonna keep it hidden.
Hashtag marketing.
You gotta follow to find out.
Hashtag marketing right there. But-
Marketing. Nice. Look at us. Economics.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Not me.
We should honestly do a hot. Like,
we should do a hot wings
wings.
episode.
That'd be awesome.
We should do. We'll
That'd
do
be
that.
electric. I'd be
going.
I would be gone by like the second wings. But besides the point, that'd be awesome.
Hot ones on the docket. All right. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.